Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to another relaxing episode of Tea Time Talks, where we sip our tea, share stories, and of course, learn how to speak real British English. I'm your host, David, and today I'm absolutely thrilled because we've got something that feels truly British at heart, a friendly chat about tea time and all the little conversations that happen around it. I know so many of you listening want to sound more natural, not like you're reading from a textbook, but like you're actually part of the conversation. And that's exactly what this episode is about. Joining me is someone who knows all about how we British really talk, the wonderful Stella.
Thank you, David. I'm so happy to be here. You know, the moment you said tea time, I could almost smell a fresh pot of English breakfast tea. I think people often imagine that British tea time is this very formal thing with fancy cups and posh accents, but in reality, it's one of the simplest and most comforting parts of our day. It's the moment when we take a break, pour ourselves a warm cup of tea, and have a friendly little chat with whoever's around. And that's what makes it special. The warmth, the politeness, and the easygoing conversation that comes with it.
That's beautifully said, Stella. I love how you put it, because for many of our listeners, tea time probably sounds like an event. But here in Britain, it's more like a habit, a way of pausing life for a few minutes. And while the tea brews, we chat. We talk about the weather, our day, our plans. Nothing too serious, just light and polite talk that keeps the atmosphere cheerful. I think what's interesting for learners is that we British have so many little expressions around tea. You'll hear things like fancy a cuppa, which simply means, would you like a cup of tea? Or put the kettle on, which means, let's make some tea. These short phrases might sound simple, but they carry a sense of friendliness that's so typically British.
Exactly. And it's the tone that really matters. When we say, fancy a cuppa, it's not just about offering tea, it's about offering company. It's like saying, come and sit with me for a moment. That's why tea time is almost an emotional language here. And learners can use these phrases in daily life to sound polite and natural. You can say to a friend, I'll pop the kettle on, which means, I'll make some tea. The word pop here just makes it sound more casual and friendly. It's amazing how one simple drink has inspired so much vocabulary.
You're absolutely right. It's funny, isn't it? We could probably go an entire day without coffee, but never without tea. And during those tea moments, there's always some kind of small talk happening. Let's talk about that, because small talk can be tricky for English learners. For example, we often start with the weather. A British person might say, "Oh, it's a bit chilly today, isn't it?" Or, "Looks like it's going to rain again." It's our favorite national topic, really.
Yes. The weather is our safe place for conversation. You can talk about it anytime, with anyone, and it never feels awkward. If you're meeting someone new or sitting in a break room, just say something like, can't believe how cold it's got, or lovely sunshine today, isn't it? And instantly you've started a conversation that feels natural. You don't even need a long response, just something like, oh yes, absolutely, or typical British weather. That's how you blend in easily.
Exactly. And that's what today's lesson is all about. Not memorizing difficult words, but understanding the rhythm of British politeness. We like to sound relaxed and kind. So instead of saying, give me some tea, we'd say, could I have a cup of tea, please? Or, would you mind passing the sugar? These are polite ways to speak without sounding robotic.
That's a great point, David. I always tell my students, British English is not just about vocabulary, it's about softness. The tone is gentle, even when we make small requests. So for example, if you want milk, you might say, a splash of milk, please, instead of add milk. Or when you're offered something, you can reply, oh yes, please, or no, thank you, I'm fine. Simple, natural, and friendly. That's the British way.
It's interesting too how the word please and thank you appear so often. Even if someone holds the door or gives you sugar or offers you a biscuit, we say thank you, sometimes more than once. It's part of our politeness culture, and if our learners practice this habit, they'll immediately sound more natural when they speak.
Yes, and I think that's one of the reasons British English feels warm. It's not cold or distant, it's polite but kind. And when we mix it with tea time, it becomes even more charming. Imagine this. You're sitting with a friend, it's raining outside, the kettle's boiling, and you say, shall I make us a cuppa? It's such a comforting moment. You can use that same feeling when speaking English.
That's such a lovely image, Stella.
You've just painted the perfect British afternoon. And for our listeners, we want you to imagine you're right there with us, sitting by the window, listening to the rain, holding a warm cup, and practicing your English while we talk. Because that's what Tea Time Talks is about, learning through real, calm conversation.
And let's give them a few practical expressions they can use straight away. For example, fancy a brew? Very British and casual. Put the kettle on. Let's make tea. How do you take your tea? Meaning, do you like it with milk or sugar? Go on then, just a splash of milk. Polite way to accept. Biscuits? Always offered. Using these phrases in the right tone makes you sound instantly friendlier and more natural.
Yes, and don't worry if your accent isn't British yet. That will come later. Focus first on rhythm and politeness. British people don't always speak fast. They speak smoothly. For instance, instead of saying, "Do you want tea?" very quickly, we might say softly, "Do you fancy a cuppa?" The words blend together, but they sound warm.
Right. And learners can practice this with simple intonation. Try saying, "Fancy a cuppa?" with a little upward tone at the end. It sounds like a friendly question. Or, "Lovely day, isn't it?" with that rising tone again. That's what makes British small talk feel light and positive.
You know what I love about this, Stella? Even if someone doesn't know much English, they can still join in. All they need are a few of these short, natural sentences. It's not about being perfect, it's about connection.
Absolutely. And speaking of connection, another common phrase you'll hear is, "How's it going?" which means, "How are you?" but in a casual way. You can reply, "Not too bad, thanks," which is a very British thing to say, even if everything's great. We tend to understate things. So instead of saying, "I'm amazing," we might say, "Yeah, not too bad."
That's so true. We love our understatement. It keeps the tone humble and friendly, and that's a cultural tip right there for our listeners. British people often downplay things. If it's sunny, we'll say, "Not a bad day." If we're very happy, we might say, "Can't complain." So when you use those little phrases, you sound naturally British without trying too hard.
Exactly, and you don't even have to imitate the accent perfectly. What matters most is the feeling. Relaxed, polite, and a little humorous. Tea time conversations often have gentle laughter and small jokes. You can say things like, "Oh, typical me, I forgot the sugar again," or "Trust me to spill the tea." Little phrases that make you sound friendly and human. Beautifully said, David. And for our listeners who are learning, here's a small challenge. After this podcast, try recording yourself saying a few phrases like, "Fancy a cuppa?" or "I'll pop the kettle on." Listen to how natural you sound and keep improving. You'll notice that when you slow down and smile, your English feels more confident.
That's such great advice, Stella. And remember, everyone, the goal isn't perfection, it's communication. Even if your pronunciation isn't exact, the kindness in your voice will always be understood.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, tea time isn't just about tea. It's about people. It's about taking a moment to connect, to talk, to share. And when you use British English in that way, you're not just speaking a language, you're sharing a culture.
And that's why I love hosting Tea Time Talks. Every episode reminds me that learning English can be a warm, human experience, not just a study session. So, to everyone listening, thank you for joining us today. We hope you've enjoyed this chat and learned a few lovely British phrases to try out.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Don't forget, keep practicing, keep listening, and maybe next time, invite someone for a real cup of tea and try your new phrases.
And as we always say here, keep your kettle warm and your English flowing. Until next time, take care, stay kind, and enjoy your tea, both together, smiling tone. Cheers, everyone.